my fellow Americans. Uh, I'm here asking for a few minutes of your time again to talk to you about something that we need to discuss. It's in discussion in Congress right now, but you and I really need to discuss this. The lawmakers are trying to come up with ways, proposing laws that might better protect our children. Um, and as wholeheartedly I believe some of them are with this topic, most of them, they really don't have to worry the way that the rest of us worry about the safety of our children. Politicians make a lot of money. Some businessmen make a lot of money. A lot of these people are opting to put their children in private schools. And most of these private schools have unarmed security staff. So if you notice where these horrible, horrible tragedies are happening, they're not happening in these private schools. They're not. Politicians are not worried about the safety of their children because they know their children are in the hands of an armed security staff along with very, very good teachers and hopefully a very, very good school system. But people there are armed to protect their children. Discussions have been going on off and on over the years in different areas of the country of why can't we protect our children the same way? And I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about it. Some people are outright no way. Some people are a little freaked out. And I can sort of understand why. Let's face it, I think we've all had a few teachers that we've thought had maybe a screw loose. There have been teachers that made the paper that should not be around our children for a number of reasons. Should every teacher be carrying a firearm in school? Absolutely not. I don't think that's the good way to go. But I am certainly not opposed to some of the educational staff carrying a concealed weapon to protect our children. Now, sadly, horribly, in so many of these tragedies we've read of heroism, of teachers and people and staff throwing themselves in the lines of fire to protect our children. They're giving their lives to protect our children. I'm not going to say each and every one of them in that moment in time wishes they had a gun, but I'm willing to bet at least a few of them wishes they had some means to better protect the lives that they're entrusted with rather than just throwing them in front of a bullet and hoping that somebody else can stop them before he pulls the trigger again. So why are we so opposed to denying these people that chance, that opportunity to save lives? I'm willing to bet we have some teachers in the school systems throughout the country that have military training. I'm willing to bet there may be some various other staff, maybe not teachers, but people who work in the school system every day that have some military training. There may be some other people willing to train. So let's talk about the potential pros. If we were to screen, very selectively screen, each and every member of the school system educational staff, we screen all the teachers, we screen all the principals, we screen all the custodians, and so on and so forth for potential people who would be willing, if they desired, to train to carry a concealed weapon to protect our children. We could potentially end up with several teachers, several administrators, maybe several custodial staff, maybe several secretaries willing to carry a concealed weapon, undergo evaluations, and train to better protect our children. Now, on a side note, during the screening process, since we are all well aware that some teachers, some people in the building should not be around children, maybe the screening process would also weed some of these people out before we wait for an accident to happen or our child to be hurt. But I'm getting away from myself. This is just something else potentially that could help our children. Let's say we have a few people in each school, discreetly armed. Nobody knows who it is. Now, people, bad guys, if you look at most of these incidents that happened, most of these psychos that went after our children had a plan. Most of the psychos in all of these mass shootings had a plan. They didn't just open up firing. The last one down in Florida, the guy, he should have been caught by the FBI. He should have been referred to by the police. There's a million things that went wrong in the situation, but he had a plan. And he pulled a fire alarm. People come running out, and he could pretty much open fire on any of them. They have plans. So now, they're not, these people with these plans to commit evil and take lives, they're not targeting the schools where there's armed security. They're not targeting anywhere where there's armed security. They're going after mostly schools, which are generally regarded as gun-free zones. So if we change that, we take that out of the equation, and we just tell people that our schools are protected with force. And that's it. Nobody knows which teachers, which staff, which administrators. They just know that there are several members in that school that can shoot back. Now, we are a nation of choices. We are a nation of freedom. We are a nation of being able to choose and make a decision. So right now I'm asking you, because some people don't want their kids around guns. So here's two questions I'm going to ask you. First, if you had to choose, you had the option. You can send your child to a school where there is a gun-free zone. Nobody in the area is going to have a gun. Or you can send your child to a school where several staff members will be carrying a concealed weapon and training to use force if necessary to protect our children. That's your first choice. Now, if you're one of the bad guys coming up with a plan, if you're one of the bad guys who wants to take away our children, which school do you think you're going to target? Are you going to go after the school where you know there's armed force going to fight back and prevent you from taking excess lives? Or are you going to attack the gun-free zone school? Answer these two questions and think about where you want to send your child to school, and think about what we really should be doing to protect our children. Schools all over the world are protected with force. Why aren't we doing the same?